For centuries, the fear of witches and witchcraft dominated societies across the globe. From small villages in Europe to the American colonies, people believed that witches were agents of evil, working in secret to harm others and disrupt the natural order. Fueled by religious fervor and superstition, this paranoia spread like wildfire, gripping communities with fear and suspicion. Witch hunts became a deadly form of scapegoating. What started as whispered accusations quickly escalated into mass hysteria, with communities eager to rid themselves of perceived evil. The roots of witch hunting can be traced back to ancient beliefs in magic and the supernatural. For millennia, cultures around the world have held the idea that certain individuals possess mysterious powers, whether to heal, curse, or commune with spirits. The ducking stool was a form of public punishment used primarily for women accused of witchcraft, scolding, or other social deviance. This method was designed not only to physically punish, but also to humiliate the accused. The victim was strapped to a chair or a stool, which was then attached to a lever or crane. The stool was dipped into water, usually a river or pond, repeatedly. If the accused floated, it was believed that the water rejected them, marking them as guilty of witchcraft. The idea was rooted in the superstition that witches were in league with the devil and thus couldn't be cleansed by water. If the accused sank, it was interpreted as a sign of innocence, but many victims would drown in the process, as the stool would often submerge them completely. The iron chair was a medieval torture device designed to cause excruciating pain through spikes embedded into the seat and back. This punishment was used particularly in Europe during witch trials. The accused was forced to sit on the chair, their weight pressing the sharp metal spikes deep into their flesh. In some versions, the chair was heated, intensifying the agony. The victim's body would be pierced in multiple places, causing severe injury and blood loss. The iron chair was a tool of psychological and physical torment. Its purpose wasn't just to punish, it was to extract confessions through the unbearable pain, leaving the victim in agony until they broke. Burning at the stake was one of the most horrific methods of execution for those accused of witchcraft, and it carried a deep symbolic significance. The accused would be tied to a wooden stake, surrounded by kindling, and set on fire. The flames would quickly consume the body, causing agonizing pain. The fire was believed to purify the soul, ridding it of evil spirits. This punishment was designed to be a public spectacle, with crowds often gathering to witness the brutal death. The burning was slow and torturous, sometimes lasting hours, with the victim's body being consumed by flames while they were alive. The witch's bridal, also known as the scold's bridal, was a device used primarily to silence women accused of witchcraft or other disruptive behaviors. It was a metal mask that covered the face, with a gag that would fit into the mouth, pressing painfully onto the tongue. The bridle was designed to prevent the victim from speaking, essentially muzzling them. It was often used to punish women who were vocal or strong-willed, reflecting the deeply patriarchal nature of witch trials. Those who wore it would endure humiliation, as they were often paraded through town or displayed in public as part of the punishment. Pressing was a particularly gruesome form of torture used to extract confessions from suspected witches. The victim would be stripped of their clothing and placed on the ground, often on their back, with heavy stones or weights placed on their chest. The pressure from the stones would gradually crush the ribs, lungs, and other vital organs. The most famous case of pressing occurred during the Salem witch trials with the execution of Giles Corey. Corey, accused of witchcraft, refused to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty, and as a result, he was subjected to pressing. Over the course of 2 days, large stones were placed on his chest, and he famously uttered, "More weight," before dying from the relentless pressure. Pressing was designed to force a confession, but it was a slow, agonizing death. The method was not only physically torturous, but also mentally and emotionally tormenting. as the victim had no choice but to endure the crushing weight until they could no longer survive. The water test, or swimming a witch, was another brutal method used during witch hunts. The accused was tied up and thrown into a body of water, often a river or pond. The belief was that witches would float because the water, seen as pure, would reject them. If the person floated, they were considered guilty of witchcraft. If they sank, often leading to drowning, they were considered innocent, but at the cost of their life. The victim's fate was sealed by death of drowning or from accusations. The test, much like the ducking stool, was both a physical trial and a form of public humiliation. While hanging was a more straightforward execution method compared to burning at the stake, it was still deeply cruel. The accused would be tied with a noose and hanged publicly, often as a spectacle. In places like England and colonial America, hanging was a common method for executing witches. The public nature of hanging added an element of fear, as the bodies were often left hanging as a grim warning to others. Although faster than burning, it was still a traumatic experience, especially for those who were hanged too quickly or slowly, causing prolonged strangulation. Devices like thumb screws, the rack, and branding irons were often used to extract confessions from those accused of witchcraft. The thumb screw was a device used to crush the thumbs, or other parts of the body, of the accused, causing intense pain and often resulting in broken bones. The rack was another torture device where the accused was tied and stretched, causing dislocated joints and immense agony. Branding irons were used to mark the bodies of accused witches, symbolizing their crime. These devices were designed to break the will of the accused, forcing confessions under duress. The use of torture became so widespread that many witches confessed just to end the agony, even though their confessions were often entirely fabricated. These punishments were the ultimate expression of the fear and superstition that governed witch hunts. They were more than just executions. They were meant to be public spectacles, designed to terrorize the population and ensure that no one dared challenge the religious or social order. Each method reflects the lengths to which society would go to control the unknown, punish the innocent, and maintain power through fear.